Well, after catching that big fish, I feel like it was an appropriate time to sit down, kind of talk about my gear. It's been a slow day, honestly. There's been a ton of people on the water. It's December, it's winter, but it's like 70 degrees out. So the river was absolutely packed today. I found a short bit of really good action, and since then it's been trying to just find a spot to fish. And that fish I just let go. It's kind of cool. I just worked this whole run. I did catch that one rainbow in there, and then it just kind of was dead. Ian then went on to throw a streamer throughout, and as I'm standing on a rock, that rainbow comes rushing down, running away from his streamer to find some safer water. And so then I was able to sight fish towards him. It took a long time, but I figured out he had a blind eye. But honestly though, I probably wouldn't have been able to catch that fish without the nymphing leader that I have set up. Now, nymphing leaders are something that a lot of people tend to overlook, and I don't know why. A lot of people just grab a standard tapered leader and start fishing, and to me that's not good enough. The reason being I don't fish a tapered leader when I'm nymphing is because there's that built-in taper, right? So it's super thick up here and super thin down here, and it's gradually getting thinner. And you think of physics and hydrodynamics, that is not going to sink straight. If nothing is a straight level, it's not going to sink in the same manner. A tapered leader cannot sink correctly. You'll notice if you're fishing in clear water with a tapered leader, you'll see this bow in your leader. That's because this thin section down here is actually able to sink properly because it's thin and it's level for about 2 or 3 feet. And then there it gets thicker and thicker and thicker. Because of that, it takes longer for this thick section to get pulled down. So if you think about it, so it's on that parabolic scale. So the more thick it gets, the harder it is for it to sink. So it's going to sink just like this. Now, that's not the issue. The issue isn't how it's sinking. The issue is detecting strikes. The big issue with that tapered leader system is you have this disconnect now. So your indicator's up here, your leader is sinking at this arc, split shot, and then your flies, right? So let's say a fish eats your flies. What do you think is gonna happen? With this arc, you have this disconnect. So now this leader has to go from here to here. So it's essentially gotta go like this before the indicator can even go down. That will lead to a lot of missed fish or a lot of fouled fish because the fish has already spit the hook and your second or third fly gets into them. So I have played with more or less straight leaders for quite some time now. I've done it a bunch on lakes, I've done it with streamer fishing, stuff like that. And I've been playing with it for about 2 years now on the rivers because I notice I'm just fouling a lot of fish. So I have, after a long time, like I said, 2 years of playing around with the leader formula, I finally came up with a leader that works for me. This leader is actually super simple. You probably won't be able to see it. It's super thin. This is going to be 10-pound Maxima ultramarine. You can also use chameleon or clear. I don't think this section matters that much, as long as it's nylon and 10-pound. That's the biggest part. So the reason I like nylon up here is because around this indicator, I want it to float. I don't want it to get pulled down or the leader to get pulled down and then have some funky stuff. So this is gonna be nylon, and this is gonna be about 5 feet. You guys can see here, I have a perfection loop put to my fly line. So that is how I'm gonna connect this. I'm gonna make a perfection loop, pull off 5 feet, and then attach 3 feet. So you guys can see here, right about the indicator, I have my blood knot down to a barrel swivel and split shot. This is 3 feet of 2x. Now you can play around with 3x or less or more. I found that connecting the 10-pound to a diameter of tippet, 2x works the best. Now a lot of people are going to question me and say, well, isn't that a really thick section of fluorocarbon? Yes, it is. But the cool part of it, because you have the straight leader, right now it's actually going to sink like this, straight up and down. So you have my indicator here, and this is a level section of fluorocarbon, so it's going to sink in a uniform manner. Now obviously, because of hydrodynamics, it's never going to sink like that. It's going to sink at this, but there's no bow because of that. So you're going to have direct connect. As soon as a fish eats, indicator makes a move. Now I have this 3-foot section. What if I'm fishing, what if I have to go deeper than the 3 feet? It's a great question. Now it's gonna seem like I'm fishing a tapered leader and I'm just, kicking some dirt at that point. I disagree. I've noticed that even when I'm sighting my indicator further up this 10-pound section, because this 10-pound section is still uniform, I still get direct contact. I'm still gonna have this exact 45 or whatever it is directly to the fly without any type of bow. The biggest issue, like I said, even though there's a difference between these two diameters, the difference is this is straight. So this is one uniform that's directly tying into another uniform. There's not this built-in taper that's gonna stop it from sinking directly. So this is the leader setup that I do. It works great for me. I've been playing with this one for about, trying to think, a year and a half now. So I guess I've been playing with straight leaders for even longer than that. I guess about 2.5 years I've been playing with straight leaders, and for about a year and a half I've been using this one. I used to do 3X with that, but the 3X I found just didn't connect to the 10-pound very well, so I switched to 2X, and even in the hardest waters in the state, like the Taylor River, Cheeseman Canyon, Deckers, stuff like that, I've had 0 issues with fish spooking. The fish don't see fluorocarbon. That's the biggest misconception. I forgot to note that the reason I do this 2X, again, I have a ton of strength, it attaches to the 10-pound a little bit more, and I have direct contact no matter what. So this is not going to be seen, and even though it's thick, it's not thick enough to prohibit any type of direct contact. Now, the reason why a lot of people have to fish very light leaders, say 5X leaders, is because you have that arc. So technically speaking, if you're fishing a 5X or 6X leader, that taper is gonna be a little bit thinner, so there's gonna be a little bit more contact to the fly. Again, those fish do not see fluorocarbon or nylon. They don't see it. When it's underwater, they can't see a thing. This is invisible stuff. But you're gonna have direct contact even with this thick of a leader. And again, I've used it in the hardest rivers in the entire state, and arguably Colorado tailwaters are some of the hardest places to fish in the entire world. Not because of numbers of fish, but because of getting the correct presentation. So I've used this, I've tested this everywhere. I've used it on the Frying Pan, Taylor, Blue River, multiple sections of the South Platte, and even like Freestones, and I've had a ton of success. So honestly, that's pretty much all you need to know about this leader. Again, it's 5 feet of 10-pound, and it can be, this is ultra green just because I got a like 600-yard spool of it. You can use chameleon or the clear, doesn't really matter. Blood knotted to 3-foot section of 2 or 3X. Again, I like the 2X just because it's very, very strong. I don't have to worry about the section ever breaking, and it's fluorocarbon, that's 1 diameter, so it's plummeting to the bottom. Now, the one thing that a lot of people overlook is a barrel swivel. I love a micro barrel swivel. This is a Scientific Angler's 40-pound barrel swivel. A lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of stuff going on with the nymph rig. In Colorado, we can fish 3 flies. So I have 3 flies on, I have split shot and an indicator. Odds are those things are gonna wanna tangle up with each other. If you don't have a barrel swivel, they're gonna kinda tend to grab each other a little bit more, or even twist around, right? So if you don't have something like a barrel swivel to make up for that spin, it's gonna get even worse. So, and the barrel swivel is small enough. Again, I've never really had fish spook from it. I'm a very utilitarian person. Everything that I have in my rig is served for a purpose. So whether it's a nylon, the type of indicator, the fluorocarbon, the barrel swivel, the flies, everything serves a purpose. This is not a gimmick by all means. I don't make any money off of Maxima or Scientific Anglers or anything like that. It's just something that works for me. And then I forgot to mention one more thing. Because we are in direct contact with their flies, we can get away with slightly heavier tippet. You don't have this arc, so your flies are already plummeting down to the bottom, so you can get away with slightly thicker stuff. This time of year, a lot of people are using 5 and 6X tippet. I still use 5X, but not for the flies that you think. So this is 3X to my egg, and then 5X to a 22 and a 24, and I found 0 reasons to go lower than that. This still produces a very natural drift because my flies are plummeting directly to the bottom. But anyways, enough of that. I think that was enough to cover my nymphing leader, why you should do it. Honestly, you guys should give it a go. I have had a ton of customers come in talking about this nymphing leader with me and how successful it's been for them. You know, you don't have to be a great caster with this. I've done it with guiding trips where people were brand new to fly fishing, have never casted a fly rod in their life, and they were able to cast this leader just fine. So you don't have to be an expert to cast a straight leader. Honestly, when you're nymphing, you should be roll casting anyways. So hope you guys appreciate this tip. Hopefully it works out for you. Let me know how it works, or if you guys got any questions, please place down a comment. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.